Hi, so here I'm going to talk about some books that I got for source material, and I bought basically a job lot of four. Well, I selected four because I had like a buy three get one free on this place called World of Books, and I was just 'cause I was looking up some of the ones see if I could find more copies of the kind of books that I really not so much started out with, but a couple of years in started to get, and I started to get the really better quality source material. And these were these kids encyclopedias from like the 70s and 80s, mostly. And so because these are the better images where I could get drawn things, images and painted images, not so much photograph, not so much photo montage, but collages of painted material. So I could, I felt that was a bit closer to what I could get from when I was uh, thinking this kind of could do stuff a bit more Winston Smithish. But something that really occurred to me years later, in fact not too long ago, is the fact that part of the thing that makes my stuff look, it's so my stuff would superficially be a bit more like his Winston Smith's, but the what would make it a bit different is the fact that a lot of his stuff came from issues of National Geographic, Life magazine, those, and from the 50s and 60s, maybe even earlier from the 40s as well. And so the way that they most of the images he would use for things like that would be things like the adverts. And so because there is a and now there is a bit of real nostalgia thing about adverts from that era. And so how they were drawn to be a certain way. So so it was very exciting and very and very open mouths and very dynamic. These are illustrations of things like science, of principle. In this case, it's a science book, two science books. Well, an encyclopedia. There's going to be a lot of science in it, and there is actually a science book under here, which is this one here. And as you can see, these things they're illustrative. They're not made to sell something. So see if this one shows it better. So you've got people's faces here, and you've got elements of things. So it's very almost subdued. So this is I think is partly what made some of my stuff look different from his. Now the two books I got, like I said, it was a book of four, but I'm an order of four, but I'm going to do just two of them in this video, and I'll do another video with the other two. Now the interesting thing about this top one here is, apart from the slip sheet is different, is essentially the same book as this here. And when I actually ordered it, it actually had on the site. It actually had this as the cover, and they said it may be different. This picture illustrative only. The cover might be different, and then later on with the actual order email, I got this, and then it turns out with this slip sheet. But if you look at here, they're essentially the same book. So if I get here, page 46 of this one, and this is one I got from the Bernardo's charity shop. So page 46, if you can see, they're the same, and they're also the same with other pages. So it's basically, this may have been reprinted in a different edition in a different year. This was common. So this one, first published 1971, 7th impression 1978. And see what this one says. I haven't checked this, so it could even be the same year, but printed elsewhere. Revised edition 1985. So this one's a little old. This one's newer than this one. But the great thing about both of them is they have the covers of slip sheets. So if I want to use this astronaut that looks like he's actually using a road digger, but he's actually used some other scientific equipment, I can with great deal of ease, a lot easier than if I was so wanted to use that, and I could cut it out and try and peel this bit away, but it would be incredibly difficult. It'd be one of those things I'd just be better off either scanning in and printing out, or keeping it as a digital piece. So you've got all these now. None of the for you, if any of these images in these books are the main background image, but that doesn't mean that they can't be used for, you know, putting together a part of the ground. So I could have that, and I could extend this by lopping off the sky, having something on there. Now I've got an A4 piece possibly, and bits could that. The thing that the easy thing to go is to replace that river. And do I have a pencil? No, I do not. I don't. Oh, I do have a pencil. So my handy all black pencil. So this the wood here is black, stone black, very cool. I got them from Asda. So replace river. Got a definite idea, but I like to put these notes in, so if I look through it again, that'll give me something to work with later. So this is this is a small book. So few of these are actual full pieces, unless I have to do like a CD size piece. This would be ideal for that. I've done something with this shot before. If it's not from one of these books, it could be a bigger one. But this is a great shot because I could just remove. I'd have to imagine kind of where the edge of the lunar module is, lunar lander is, because of it's so dark, and that you replace that with something. And I've used this, but bigger. I've got a piece where I've used. I'm pretty sure it's another photo of this particular spacewalk, but bigger, and I'm replacing with. I think he's holding plates of bread and stuff. All fun stuff like this. And all these pictures of rockets are always useful for the kind of artwork I do, because they're kind of almost be stand-ins for missiles. But I do actually have some images of actual ICBMs that I've scanned in, because I can always either print out or do digitally. But the sciencey space type stuff is always handy for my artwork, as is with butterflies. As what went right past there. There you go. Although these are kind of fold over each other, so a little harder to use. And snakes are always good, because I came across a snake a bit ago somewhere. There's one somewhere in there. So what I can get a lot from these are the bits where I put things in. But again, this, extend it, put things in where they shouldn't be. The gun's always handy for this, you know, for the kind of artwork I do. I've used that person for a piece, this particular image for a piece. Can't remember if I've used that from the Great Fire of London, but if I can separate these pages, which I should be able to because they're saddle stitched and not glued together, I can do that with minimal joining there that I'd have to either live with or patch over with something. This is obviously a good image of showing the miseries of war, and this is almost like a collage in itself. But I will take things from that. I wouldn't actually use that. So these pictured ones, not photographs, so where they've painted. Well, very few photographs. Things where they've painted instances like this. This is great. They're very good for the kind. Made me feel like I was doing the kind of artwork that I really was massively inspired by. So this is always, it's got me off to a really, after my initial start, it's got me off to being really on the road I wanted to go down, and really kept me going. This is a bit that's sometimes useful where they're doing reproductions of artwork, famous artwork. So got one of the manuals. It was in one of these books that I got the one of the painting I Can't Leave Alone, a particular painting of Mary, Jesus, and St. John. Jesus and John were babies. I can't remember I should have the name of the actual painting embedded in my head, but it's not, unfortunately. And you go into the modern art, and so the next one, because I see the book that I put there is to show you what is, and it's basically the same book. There might be some pages that are different, but you see they're pretty much the same. This is a little thicker, this one, so I don't know if they have added more pages, but they all look pretty much the same. See, if I flip through, you'll see some very similar pages. So that's good, because if I want to have an image that was really useful, and so sometimes you can go into artistic paralysis of I want this piece really good, I'm going to use it for something really special, and then you just never end up using it. This way I've got more to work with. So here you have some, it's just a bit bigger, but you have some good again, not much in the way of the actual main piece, you know, the main part, you know, the main part of the illustration, but you've got things you could extend, because I could easily do this, and this would be a lot easier to have the cut away and have the join, because I can just, it's easier to colour that in when it's dark, and then just have something extended up there, or even extended below here. That never occurred to me, because I can just draw in something like there, and then, or paint in. So this is a lot of the same thing. It's a science book, so it's going to be, obviously everything's going to be science based, but you're going to get a lot more space type images, which are always useful, and vehicles, and you know, I think this is always good, because where they've drawn in for a person swinging the bucket, instead of going to the effort of painting an actual person, they did like basically the shape of a person. But I think this looks interesting. By their laziness has made things more interesting for me. So that's will be handy to use into somewhere. Again, here I would have to. Oops, no, these ones are actually glued together. It's not saddle stitched, so it'd be a lot harder. So I've actually lost this piece unless I do something over his face. But I've got this bit of it. So that's a little bit of a shame for this one. So let's see, when did this come out? So revised edition, but first published 1973, revised edition 1985. So maybe because this is bigger, then that's why they decided to glue the pages together. But it's the same company, Hamlin. They put out a lot of these, and they're always great. And this is great, apart from you've got the word mushroom cloud in there, so I would have to do something with that. I could just paint over it. So it's not the worst thing in the world, it's just annoying. This is great. This is great for the kind of artwork I do. A Trident missile being tested. So this is an actual thermonuclear missile, but it's not it's thermonuclear capable missile, but this one's not. It's a test launch. It's a MIRV, so there's more than one warhead in there. But that's useful for the kind of artwork I do, to have one actually launching. Again, these are all great. I mean, this is great to go in a window and so forth. It just makes things more interesting with this. You do want to do something a bit more decorative, and these just pictures that are weird are great to go into collage artwork. So, like I said, this is more of a, this is not something I could go through and go, well, here I've got, and this is the art where you usually have the beginning of the idea, but it's one of those ones I can go through to saying, if I've got one where I want people to be holding something different, or if I remember something that's in one of these books, then I can just get the image and then put the book back. So these are very useful stuff like that. The V2 rocket, the first liquid fuel based rocket. And here, so these are all very good as stand-ins, like I said, stand-ins for missiles. All these pages can go really, unless I want a blue background, so to save myself some space. Like I said, it's shame it's not a dust jacket, but what can you do? So I thought these were very good hauls, and from a place called World of Books, and you can get a lot of vintage and retro books from there. So these are great for doing this. And so And another thing is, I end up avoiding the conversation because when I go to a shop, usually a charity shop, and get something like this, sometimes I'll have a conversation. Like when I got a massive haul of National Geographic magazines around a year ago, actually, because it was around my birthday. I no, nearly a year ago. It was it was on my wife's birthday in May, and so we saw a whole shelf of them. So because as a treat, um, while our son was at school, we both that day we had a trip to a local town that had some good charity shops, and she likes to go around them, and I like to go around them for this purpose, and she likes to go around for what bargains she can get, and we ended up getting more stuff for me than for her, and that was that massive stash of National Geographic, and the person in the shop was saying, "Oh, this is really good. It's a good haul." And I always have to uh, have the amusing idea in my head of what they would do if I told them what I was actually planning with these books. I never do, because they might not let me leave the shop with them. Um, so this is another. This is a question for any collage artists who would be watching this, and you would have to be watching this, especially this far in. Um, do you actually tell the people that you are getting your source material from? What are you going to be doing with them? Because some people will do, house go to house clear outs, especially in America or Canada. Because I know there's another collage artist called Flanzella. She does stuff like that. She gets some of the material from that way, and she's got way more space um, to house these things and organise them properly than I do. So I just keep them in the book. So I've got couple of boxes to the right of me here, and I've now carved out a bit of shelf space behind me, and because they were like piling up on the floor, so I've organised that a bit more. But I've got a couple more books I got recently on top of my scanner, and I've got two boxes that are up in the attic that I haven't brought down yet, and so I'm still sometimes bringing little bits down every now and then. So let me know what you think of these. Whether you like them, would you think there is anything that you think could be done with the images here? Even if, yeah, if you don't think of them as if you do think that possibly I could actually cobble together a collage based on going through all these here if I really wanted to. But it'd be very mishmash and easy to take a long time to get together, unless I was doing like the situation like some people do, where imagine it's just a white page, or even use it as a blue page and have stuff collected in the middle. You've still got those out there, and you haven't got the main image. So it's like floating in. Your image is framed in the white space, or in this case, blue space. Like I said, I don't do that very much, but I do sometimes do. So that's a possibility as well. I do what I feel like the image requires. So let me know what you think. Like, share, and subscribe. My description has my link tree, which has my merch links and my socials. And you can also get the link to my Patreon to try and help me out. And I shall speak to you soon. Thank you.